Hi, thanks for joining us. Today we have Rhonda Morris, who is one of our judges for the VCAL cook-off competition this year. Rhonda is an accomplished chef. She is a cake baker and also too a national judge in our cake baking competitions around the country.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and a bit of your background and how you got to where you are now?
Started my apprenticeship when I was 17. I used to love cooking, or home economics as they called it many years ago at high school. I decorated a cake there, and it was my mother that sort of got me apprenticeship in Traralgon, and I did a 3-year apprenticeship there, and I was the only girl in my class because we had to go down to Melbourne a fortnight every year. At the end of the year we had to go down a fortnight, and I was the top marks on all of those. So I managed to get awards for the whole 3 years I was down there. Pretty embarrassing sometimes. And then I sort of left there and came up and worked in bakeries up around Sale and that. And in one bakery, I managed to win silver medals for the Great Australian Pie Bake Off. And I think I won a bronze medal at the time too.
What's been the highlight of your career? What would be the big achievement that you feel?
I've got a few. Some of them, like winning the awards for the 3 years for apprenticeship, and winning the gold, silver and bronze for the pies. Also, what was I going to say? Sort of becoming a national judge. I worked hard for that. I really studied for that, because it's not easy. And when I did my last exam for that, I got 100%. I used to just study it and study it and study it until it was something that I really wanted. So yes, I worked really hard for that one. Yeah.
Wow. So when you're as a national judge, what sort of events are you judging? Where are you featured?
I've done the Melbourne show a few times. I can't judge Sale because that'd be conflict of interest. I've judged up in Queensland, their big competition up there. I've judged over in Western Australia, all around Victoria basically.
Wow, it's an occupation that gives you the opportunity to travel all around Australia, hey?
Oh yes, yeah. It has taken me all over Australia, down to Tassie too. It's been all over Australia, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we feel incredibly privileged to have someone of your calibre judging our humble competition.
Oh, no.
What do you look for when you're judging a cake? What's the winning cake for you?
First of all, the colour and the shape of the cake. If it's a good shape, it's come to the right level of the thing. It hasn't cracked in the centre. If it's cracked, the oven's been too hot. And if the shape, the colour, the texture, well, that's when you cut it, the texture of the cake, not burnt, of course, and it's filled out the edges of the cake pan. Has to be level.
You don't want a wonky cake, do you?
No, don't need that.
Hints or tips can you offer the student when it comes to the actual baking of the cake? What can you suggest?
First of all, read your recipe carefully, because if you don't and you add a bit too much of something, it's not going to work. It's all scientifically worked out, the recipe, on how things should rise and things like that. Measure the ingredients really, really carefully. Do whatever they say, and for the first time, don't substitute a lot of things. Check that the oven is at the right temperature, because it's no good if you're putting in the oven or you've set your temperature too high. It's going to be too hot when you put it in, obviously. But then if you've got to wait for it to come down, the batter the ingredients in the batter, like the enzymes and the raising ingredients, may not rise as good. So make sure all that is done first, have all that sort of sorted out, all your equipment sorted out, and the cooling racks and stuff like that.
Terrific. With putting the cake in the oven, is there a position, usually the best position for the wraps to go in for a cake to be baked?
I think it also depends on your oven, and with fan forced and all that sort of things. Some ovens you can put it in the middle, all depends how big the cake is. Or you can put them down the bottom. If you burn on the bottom, well, you put it up higher. Yeah, as I said, it all depends a lot on your oven, but it also, you know, if it's a big cake, try to get it down low, or in the middle. It would be best in the middle. Yeah.
Terrific, thank you. That's great. And what about when it comes to decorating a cake? What sort of hints and tips can you offer the students?
Okay, first of all, choose a theme that you think you can do, and the colour scheme and the correct shape would be like that. The board needs to be large enough you need probably about 2 centimetres on each side. Also, make sure your icing is moulded enough to cover the cake, or mixed up enough being buttercream. For fondant, make sure it's moulded up enough that it's pliable and doesn't crack. And also sort of try to roll it, if you're rolling fondant, to a smooth, no bubbles, no cracks and that in the fondant, and just roll it off, and use perspex or wooden trails or patters and that to smooth it out, and sort of ease it gently around the cake to prevent it from pleating or something like that. Yeah.
That's terrific. I tell you what, I'd love to see a fondant iced cake in our competition. Let's see if they're going to rise to the challenge, hey?
Yes, I'd like to wish all your VCAL students luck, and be creative with what you're doing. Have a lot of fun. I think this is what it's all about, having fun. Yeah, be creative. Have fun.